everyone. This is Lucas Ross Sports, Lucas Ross, your commentator, and we continue our 2022 college football predictions. The Colorado Buffaloes are up next. I'll give you an official prediction for this team, give you my thoughts on this team, and go through the schedule, and we'll go from there. But before we do that, let's look back at 2021 for this Colorado team. In 2021, the Colorado Buffaloes went 4-8 overall. Not a really good season. They had a tough schedule last year. And obviously the offense wasn't really good last year, let's be honest. They had Texas A&M out of the non-conference as well. They had a potential chance to win that game, but Colorado was just not really that good of a team that I thought they would be. You know, I was really high on this team from last year. I thought they would be good than people might say, but it wasn't enough. You look at the offensive and defensive rankings from last year, 121st on the offense last year. Not really good number right there, so a lot to improve on that offensive side of the ball. Defensively, 72nd on defense. That defense was really good, but that's something to improve on this year as well. Points per game and opponents per game, both sides of the ball, 18.8 points a game on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, 26.7 points given up. So a lot to improve on for this Colorado team this year. Offensively, they bring quite a lot back from last year's team, almost everybody back, but not quite a lot there on that offense there. Defensively, they have a lot to replace on that defensive side of the ball. Going to have like a young group a little bit, but they really have to improve on that defense. Let's be honest, it's going to be a young defensive team this year. And here's that 2022 schedule for Colorado. You see that opening game against TCU on September 2nd. Not going to be an easy game. TCU out of the Big 12 Conference. TCU is a team that I'm really high on this year. I think this team has what it takes to maybe compete with the Big 12 Conference this year. They have a chance to maybe be a team that has to watch out for. But I know people are not saying that TCU is going to be a great team, and people are saying that they lose their defensive coordinator. Yes, they do, but TCU is going to be interesting of a team. Let's be honest, they're going to be really good, and I think TCU does win this game. I think it's a game that TCU does win, but it's a back-and-forth contest. Don't get me wrong. I think Colorado's offense will be hanging around in this game. Defensively, I think TCU, is a better defense than Colorado, but the defense will step up for TCU, and that will win them the game. So that's going to be a game, though, that's really interesting to look at, but I think Colorado does come up short in this one, but TCU does get the win. Next game on the road at Air Force, I got them taking care of business against Air Force. This is a game that they should take care of business in. I know it's on the road and all, but this is a game they should take care of business in. They have no business in losing this one either, so they have no business in losing that game. Next game on the road at Minnesota. I know this is a tough non-conference schedule for Colorado. Overall, the schedule is really tough for Colorado, let's be honest. Minnesota, though, is a team that could be a contender in the Big Ten West this year. They do return really good production from last year's team. Overall on the offensive side of the ball, they have almost everybody coming back. Defensively, they have a little bit to replace there, but they should be really good. I really don't see Colorado competing in this game, to be honest. I think the offense does give them, maybe a first half advantage there, but then second half, I think Minnesota does have what it takes to beat Colorado. I think Minnesota does win that one, and Colorado really has got a tough schedule. But we get to the game against UCLA now on September 24th. UCLA has an easy schedule this year, but the home field advantage is there for Colorado. This game could go back and forth, to be honest. I think it will be a back-and-forth contest between two offenses. But defensively, both teams have a little bit of question marks. UCLA, though, is a team that, I'm not really high on, but they just have an easy schedule. That's all I can say about UCLA a little bit. But I think Colorado does win this one. I think they do get the win here at home against UCLA. I think they at least get a win there. I mean, UCLA's returning production percentage is not good, let's be honest. It's a lot of question marks for both of these teams, but I think Colorado, the home field advantage is there, and the returning production percentage is ahead of them as well, so I think Colorado will win on that game at home. Next game is on the road at Arizona. They get to the month of October now. Arizona is going to be an interesting team this year. Arizona has got a team that's really loaded coming back on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, quite a bit coming back as well. So Arizona should be really a good team this year. It could be that underdog type of offense or underdog type of team in the Pac-12. But I really don't see Arizona still getting to a bowl game, let's be honest. I really don't see them getting to a bowl game. But I do got Arizona winning this game. I know it sounds crazy and all, but I think Arizona is going to be a little bit better than Colorado this year. They have the talent. They have the, returning production percentage advantage in this one. Home field advantage is also there for Arizona. So I think Arizona does win this game. Next game is at home against California. October the 15th. They get a bye week before playing this game, so that's the good news there for Colorado. This game is at home. California is going to be a question mark team. Let's be honest. Offensively, they're going to have a lot of question marks. Defensively, they bring quite a lot back on that side of the ball. Offensively, though, they're going to be really young. Let's be honest. Both of these teams are pretty even, though, in the talent-wise. I think Colorado, though, has more talent than California. And I think Colorado does win this one with home field advantage as well. They get their second Pac-12 win, so I think it's a win there for Colorado. Don't get me wrong. Colorado will have some games on this schedule that will be close, but some of them are not really even going to be close, let's be honest. But California is a win there. Next game is on the road at Oregon State. Oregon State's going to be an interesting team this year. Defensively, they bring quite a lot back on that side of the ball. Offensively, they bring quite a bit back as well. So Oregon State overall should be a contender in the Pac-12 conference this year. They should be a team that, can maybe win the Pac-12 conference, but the Pac-12 obviously is doing a lot of things different this year. They are just doing the standings, not just the divisions now. They are seeing who are the top two teams are going to be in the Pac-12. I don't really see Colorado competing against Oregon State in this game. I don't really see them winning this one on the road either. It's a tough place to play, and I think Colorado will lose that one on the road at Oregon State. Arizona State on October 29th. Arizona State's a team that I'm really high on as well. They both have really good production coming back on both sides of the ball. Arizona State is a team that, maybe can be a Pac-12 contender as well, but maybe an underdog contender. But I think Arizona State will win this one as well. Colorado will probably make them have a close one in the first quarter, maybe. But I think Arizona State does have the better advantage in this one, the returning production advantage in this one as well. So I got to go with Arizona State to win this game. And then we get to the month of November. This is the brutal stretch here for Colorado. We go to November the 5th, that's Oregon. November the 11th, USC. November 19th, Washington. And Utah on November 26th. Brutal schedule here in the month of November here for Colorado. We start with Oregon first. Oregon is a team that, has a new coaching staff. They have a lot of question marks on offense, but they bring in Bo Nix, the transfer from Auburn or something. But who knows? If he's going to be the starter, Oregon's just going to be a good team. Let's be honest. They still are going to be that type of team that can maybe, make the college football playoff. But I really don't see Oregon being all that really good of a contender in the Pac-12 this year. But I think Colorado does lose this one to Oregon. It's a tough game here. I don't really see Colorado, beating Oregon at home this year. I know, it's a home game there, but I think it's a game that Colorado will lose here. There's that game on the road at USC. So back-to-back road games here. We start with USC. This game is on a Friday, and it's really interesting here. It's on a Friday. But USC is too talented. I really don't see Colorado, beating USC. Let's be honest. USC's got Lincoln Riley, Caleb Williams. Interesting offense here for USC. They should be a really good offensive team, and it's not going to be even close. I think Colorado will lose that one to USC on the road. And there's that game on the road at Washington. Washington is going to be an interesting team as well this year. Washington has a lot coming back on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, quite a lot coming back as well. So, quite a bit coming back on both sides of the ball this year. But, I don't think this game is going to be even close either. I think this schedule is brutal for Colorado. I really don't see Colorado, beating Washington on the road. Let's be honest. It's too tough of a place to play. I don't really see Colorado being all that, going in there and beating them. So I think Washington is just going to be really talented. They have the talent to beat this Colorado team. And then also Utah on November 26th, that last game there. Utah is a team that was really good last year. They have quite a bit coming back on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, quite a little bit coming back there as well. I really don't see Colorado really winning these games, to be honest with you. Utah, though, is not going to be a game that they, really can compete either. Let's be honest, they can't really compete in all these four teams. Let's be honest, they're one of the top four Pac-12 teams this year. Oregon, USC, Washington, Utah. You have to go back-to-back on the road as well, and that's really brutal there for Oregon. Colorado. And then you got Minnesota and TCU out of the non-conference, and those are two tough games as well. So this schedule is just brutal for Colorado. And the overall prediction for Colorado comes out to be 3-9. I think it's a really tough year for Colorado. The schedule is just not really pleasant and not nice for Colorado as well. So let me get your thoughts on this Colorado team down in the comments below. And stay tuned here for more on Lucas Ross Sports.